Episode 4. Here it is. We made it past the 3.
Yeah.
As long as we get this thing edited and posted, right?
That's right.
All right. So we're going to do something a little bit different. I am going to ask you some questions.
Okay.
Some questions I thought of.
Yeah.
Some of them may be a little deep. Mm-hmm. Some of them not so much.
Okay.
Let me get my handy dandy notebook.
I feel like we're like going on some like
Adventure?
undercover operation, like athletic version.
Yeah, you look like Sonya from, was it Mortal Kombat? Yeah.
Well, my name's Amanda.
No, I know this. But you look good. But yeah, you definitely look like Scarlett Johansson in one of the Avengers.
Cool.
That's good. Yeah, it did well. All right, so here we go. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
You sure about this?
I think so.
All right. I thought you have not seen these questions.
I haven't seen these questions. Now, hold on. The reason why we're doing this is because I had some people say, hey, we hear a lot about Eddie, which, it's fine. Totally fine. Like, we want to hear more about you.
So here we are.
And yeah, I haven't seen the questions. I don't know what's in that handy dandy notebook.
And I feel like as we go, there'll be some impromptu questions that I ask as well.
Okay.
So I have 7 questions right now.
Okay.
With a bonus question at the end.
Ooh. Okay.
So, okay, first question, and this is a very serious one. Why are you so hot?
Stop.
What do you mean stop?
I don't know.
You have to answer
right now.
the question. Sonya from Mortal Kombat?
God just made me this way.
Yeah, he wasn't messing around.
I don't know.
He wasn't messing around. Well, you're beautiful.
Thank you.
You're beautiful. Okay, all right. So getting into more stuff because we love the transparency piece.
You see my legs shaking?
Why, are you nervous?
I'm not nervous at all.
What do you struggle with? Like, what would you say your biggest struggles are in life? Day-to-day activities, what is constantly on your mind? You're like, man, I'm still dealing with this crap.
2 things instantly came to mind. Anxiety would be probably my top. Mm-hmm. And then like feeling just like not good enough. Like not adequate.
So let's break that down. Okay, let's go over the anxiety. I obviously know about this stuff because we live together.
Yeah.
You're my baby. So the anxiety piece, like let's dive into that a bit because that's a big thing. Like there is tons of people that deal with anxiety issues. I mean, I've been a victim of it. I mean, there is a lot of people. Our kids have issues with it,
which is probably our fault.
So
I mean, not intentionally being our fault, but I think with anxiety, I think there's just so many different like aspects to it. Like first of all, I lint rolled myself, and I'm still covered in dog hair.
We have 3 dogs, and they're ridiculous.
I think there's a lot of different ways anxiety can look. Like I've seen people who it's like irritability. It comes out in anger. It can come out in sadness. It can come out in just totally shutting off, and shutting down. And then it can come out as like panic. And I'm sure there's a lot more, but mine specifically would be like the panic and shutdown. So like I have like all of the physical symptoms of anxiety whenever it happens. So my hands start to sweat, my heart starts to pound, my chest gets tight, you feel like you can't breathe. And literally like everything feels like it's
getting shrink wrapped.
Like it's like you that's whenever like the crazy thoughts start to happen, and like you kind of question your existence, or you question what's going on in your life, and it's like doom and gloom. I mean, it's like impending doom would be like the best way to describe it. Like everything is falling apart around you. That is how I personally experience anxiety.
But is that what's actually happening in reality?
Well, no, but someone who has anxiety, they're thinking irrational thoughts, right?
Right.
So it's hard to tell someone who is in that moment of panic, hey, this isn't really happening. Oh, right. It's like, okay, thanks, Susan. I didn't think of that. Like people who really have anxiety, they don't want to have anxiety. They don't want to feel like their life is over every day. They don't want to wake up and be like, okay, can I get out of bed today? Can I not get out of bed today? Mm-hmm. Nobody wants that. You know?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've obviously witnessed all this like firsthand, and you do pretty well. you get two sides of it. You do like kind of shut down, like there won't be a lot of words spoken in between us, but you still carry yourself and can do the day to day, which like you can kind of stuff it, which we know that stuffing's not good because usually there's an explosion afterwards, or some sort. But you do good of not, like, we can go somewhere and you could be dealing, and I know you're dealing with it, but you like to other people, they wouldn't even know it. So, I mean,
yeah, I've had friends that are like, oh, I had no idea.
Which I mean, I guess is that good? I think it's good.
I don't know if it's like good or bad. I think it's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, but I just witnessing you go through that stuff, I hate it. And I know, just like from our friends and people we talk to and stuff like that, emails, whatever it is, like a lot of people go through that crap. Like I've had stints where I'm like, dude, this sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, no matter what you want to say, like I know we deal with anxiety, all this stuff, but I mean, it comes back down to mindset. Wouldn't you agree with that? Like,
okay, so man, I don't know. That's like tricky because I can tell myself all day, like, okay, like, be positive. Like, this isn't really happening, Amanda. Like, you know, I mean, really and truly, if you haven't totally experienced full on anxiety, you don't understand. Like you literally, it's not as easy as, let me just flip my mindset.
Right.
Because
of course.
we wouldn't have this massive issue with anxiety and depression, right?
Right. We'd all be fit, firm in the gym. Like, well, I mean, if we could just flip the switch.
None of us would have mental health issues.
Right. But is
that's not
going rampant.
Like, the case is that so many people are struggling and they're not getting the help that they need. They're not talking about it. They're not being open about it. And I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, this past week, the reason why we didn't do the podcast is because I was going through a weird time in my life with anxiety.
Right.
You know,
You were numb.
Yeah. I tried a medication, and which I won't say which one, just for sake of just, you know, whatever, but, just an anxiety medication, right? Like just a daily something just to kind of help me with like my anxious thoughts. And I mean, that was probably the craziest I've ever felt. Like I was like, should I admit myself to a hospital? And I joke about that. It's not funny. I mean, that was really bad.
It was a bad couple of weeks.
Yeah.
If
you would have put me in this chair and said, okay, it's podcast time, I would have been like, yeah, no.
Yeah. That's why we did not do it.
Yeah. I couldn't even like process my own thoughts. So, anyways, so yeah, I mean, if it were that easy to just like flip the script in your brain, then we wouldn't have the massive issues that we have with people today. If
I can say something real fast, I admire you just being real and like being honest about it. Like, seriously, like a lot of people would be like, I just wasn't feeling up for it. But like, you're like, hey, you were down in the gutter. Like you just came out and said it. So like, I applaud you for that. Like if more people were real, we could really help each other and not hide behind the curtains of this fake facade. Like everything is fine.
I mean,
freaking
I think
bull crap.
A lot of people want to be fine.
Of course.
They want to be fine so bad that they will pretend to be fine.
But they're not.
But they're not fine.
Yeah, they're not fine.
And honestly, until they're ready to like talk about that and come forward and ask for help, then there's really nothing you can do. You know, like, I don't know. I just read something today, actually, that I was going to mention. This is a perfect time. It said, what's the bravest thing you've ever said or did? No, what's the bravest thing you ever did? And it said, ask for help.
So true. We're afraid, like we don't want to show weakness, and the V word again, being vulnerable, especially for men. Like women have an easier time, I think, to be like, hey, I need to go to your girlfriends.
We do.
And help each other. Where men's like the pride, like I'm tough, I'm strong.
Yeah,
like
y'all are hard asses.
Yeah, but we're not. That's pride. It's not. I did it for decades.
Yeah.
And it got me nowhere fast.
Yeah.
But when you open up and I was just talking to Josh today at the gym. We were kind of talking some spiritual warfare stuff, and it was just like, it was awesome. It was just like, yeah, we deal with this. We struggle with this and this and this. He's like, yeah, me too, man. I'm like, really? What do you do for? Yeah. It's just like awesome. Like being real and being open and discussing it instead of like hiding behind the poser, right? The poser. You're not going to get anywhere.
Everyone has their struggle, you know.
Of course they do, yeah.
Struggle, and some people are ready to talk about it, and some people aren't. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, and you're not ready until you are ready. Like you gotta find that courage, and and get to that point.
What was the second part?
Yeah, I was just about to ask you. Like, so being vulnerable and am I good enough? Was that what it was?
It was anxiety and am I good enough?
Am I good enough?
Yeah.
Okay, so why do you not think you're good enough? By the way, you're a freaking awesome wife. I think you're more than good enough. So I just want to throw that out there before we begin.
No, I've kind of always struggled with like the feeling of like being inadequate, and I really don't know where that comes from. It's partially why I'm in counseling.
Probably goes back to childhood. It usually does.
I mean, maybe, yeah. I don't know. Just relationships, jobs, being a mom, you name it. I always want to be better. I always feel like I could be doing better, being better, those types of things. I don't know. I always feel like I'm just not ever hitting the mark. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's good. And I think that's bad.
Yeah.
I think it's bad for the reason that you are good enough. Like, you are good enough. Like, I've seen you with our kids. You're an awesome mom. You're an awesome wife. You're a great friend. Like, you have a lot of friends. They lean to you. They tell you stuff that they wouldn't tell other people, which people don't give that information unless they really trust you. I mean, so that should really tell you a lot about it, right? And, yeah. And then I guess the good side is like, hey, I need to get better. I need to push myself to do this. I'm kind of weak in this area. And this is just me, firing off things. But yeah, I think we all want to have that drive. Like, okay, I'm weak in this area. Let's get better. But I think you are hard on yourself. I think, I say that a lot. Like, hey, baby, I think you're a little bit too hard on yourself. Just because the way it sounds is like you try to take the blame for too much and you don't need to.
Yeah, my expectations for myself are way higher than they.
And what do we say for the kids? Don't have high expectations?
Yeah.
So those are the two things: anxiety and not being good enough.
Yeah.
You're more than good enough. I'll tell you that right now. So the anxiety we're working on, right?
We're working on that.
We're working on it.
That is a steady work in progress.
Okay, here you go. All right, this is we're gonna do a little shift here. All right, here we go. What?
I said numero dos. Number 2. Question number 2.
I feel like this is number 3 because I said you're hot.
Crap.
What do you struggle with?
Number 3.
All right, let's redo this whole podcast because you're not paying attention. All right, okay, here you go. What do you think of the men today? The men, and I'm speaking in general. And if you say any of them are hot, I'm going to beat you down. Just kidding, I'm not.
Man.
What do you think of the men today?
The men today. What group of men are we talking about?
Masculinity, just men in general. What are we seeing versus when you were a kid, or what you think of like the 50s and 60s of what the men were? Masculinity. Let's put it to that.
I would say masculinity has taken a huge downfall.
Yeah.
It's like we're like in the pits right now.
And why do you say that?
I just think that, for one, I think that, parents are becoming softer. So they're raising their kids differently than before. Not saying you have to beat your kids every time they mess up, but there's a definite difference between parenting in the old days and parenting now. And then you can see how that has changed. Like parenting in the old days, yeah, they did like whoop ass and they did, all these different things, but these people, these kids grew up to be,
disciplined, respectful.
Men.
Yeah.
Now they probably had emotional problems, but they were respectful and, they knew how to handle themselves in tough situations, I think now especially with boys, they are being coddled. It's kind of like, you're not allowing your kids to mess up. Like you're too like helicoptery, like, don't run, don't do that. And don't get me wrong. If it's like a life-threatening situation, I'm going to intervene with my children. I will intervene. But if they're like running around the park, I'm not going to be like, hey, stop running. You might trip.
It's funny you said that. I just got done reading. I reread Wild at Heart. by John Eldridge. And it talks about that, about how parents nowadays will be like, stop doing that. Don't do that. Like, dude, let like, you're just cutting off their balls. Like, let them be boys. Like, they have got to go through that phase. They've got to fall down. They've got to scrape their knee. They've got to bruise it. They got to get broken bones, chip some teeth. They got to do some stuff. And that doesn't say like, oh yeah, they'll have them go pick up a gun, but no, it does mean go train them on it. Like, so they know what it was. And people be like, oh, that, like, they shouldn't be playing with a hammer. That's dangerous. Like, yes, it is dangerous. They need to learn that it is dangerous, and they need an adult, preferably a male, that shows them, here's how we do it. Here's what it can and can't do. We don't do this. We do this. And here's what it's used for. But yeah, there's people that won't let their kids be kids, and they turn into, well, to be honest with you, pussies.
Yeah. And it's definitely worse for the boys. It's a sad, sad deal. Now we're okay with boys wanting to be girls, and it just,
I respect their feelings. Like, what is that?
It doesn't work that way. Like, it doesn't work. So yeah, I think, like, all in all, I think that, men are nowhere near how they used to be. I respect men from back in the day more so than men now. Men are not men anymore. They're few and far between.
If I say, describe for me a Christian man, what would you do right now? What are you thinking in your head that just happened? Christian man.
A Christian man, I would think soft-spoken, totally, like, by the book, that's, I think that kind of sums it up. Like, doesn't do any wrong, like, tiptoes around.
Isn't that sad? That's sad.
No, I know
that's sad.
I know differently, but I think, like, if you were to just say it, I think people, like, think that.
I think that. I agree with you. When I was talking with Josh at the gym today, that's what we said. Like, yeah, I think they're just, but that's not what we're called to be, which we're totally going to get into one time. That's going to be a topic.
Yeah, that'll be a different
topic.
Warrior
in us, that's for sure. But yeah, that's sad. Yeah, because I wanted to know what your thought was. I never really like nailed you with it like that. I just wanted to see what you thought. But yeah, I feel the same way, and that's horrible. Like, I don't want people. Oh, he's a Christian. Oh, what a weak little bee. Yeah. Like, no, dude, I'll freaking take you down. Okay, impromptu question. Okay. What is something that no one knows about you? What is something that you want to share that no one really knows about you? This is a thinker. Do, 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 do.
I want to say, there might be a couple people who know this about me, but I really love to write.
You're a good writer.
I feel like I look like someone that would not want to pick up a piece of paper and pen, but I freaking love to write.
Do you journal?
I just started journaling.
I know you did. I love it.
I just started journaling.
You put down dates when I do something nice.
I put down dates. No, not whenever you do something nice. It's just like, I don't want to get off into this tangent because this could be a whole other podcast too, but it's just, back to the whole, like, military man thing. Mm-hmm. It's difficult. In a marriage, it is difficult with a man like you. Okay, you're not like everybody else.
No, I know.
You're not. And then men like you, y'all have your own little group. You guys are not like everybody else. You're just not. And that's a good thing and it's a bad thing, And so, yeah, I could sit here and focus on all the things that you kind of do that I don't like, or that kind of, like, make me feel uneasy. I could do that all day long. Mm-hmm. So I flipped it and I was like, you know what? I am going to, like, everything that, because I think small things are overlooked. Mm-hmm. I think that in marriages, like, people do things for their spouse and it's overlooked or it's expected. Mm-hmm. So I made a decision that, every time I notice something that you do that is amazing, I will write it down. So
you've been doing a lot of writing, haven't you?
For today. No, this was last night for whenever Emma had volleyball. You knew that the kids weren't feeling very well. Right. And then you had to take Tristan to jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. But we had to be somewhere, like, me, Emma, and Bray had to be somewhere at the same time. Mm-hmm. You texted me and you said, do you need me to get Bray and we'll just stay home and you can take Emma? Mm-hmm. That's one of those things that I had to write down. Mostly because I know how awesome, like, it is for you to see Tristan get back into jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. You're proud of him. That's a big deal for you. And for you to sacrifice that last night and and offer that up was huge for me.
Yeah.
And so I wrote it down. Yeah. I mean,
it's like expect. It's like, dude, we're a team. Like if I need to.
But I just said though.
Yeah. Yeah. I got
things that are expected. It doesn't matter if it's something that you should do. I mean, who cares about should do's? Like you did it and it made me smile. Like I was like, wow, like that's really awesome because some people wouldn't do that.
Right.
You know? So, anyways, so yeah, I love to write. I love to write. I've always loved to write. Especially my feelings, and I love to write stories, and yeah, I love to write.
So are you going to start it? Are you going to write a book?
No.
Why?
I don't want to write a book.
You like to write?
Maybe some point in my life, but not right now.
Let's write a book together. Holy drippage.
I keep doing that for myself. Damn it. Next.
Okay, next question. Do you think it is important to be transparent and real? And I think you kind of already answer that with the anxiety piece.
100%.
But tell me, like, I know you think it's important, but why?
Because like I said before, you know, whatever you're going through, there's someone else out there that's going through the same thing. And I think that being able to relate to someone is huge. Like if I'm having an issue with something and I'm talking to a friend and she tells me a story and it resonates with me, something that I'm going through, there's a connection immediately formed. I'm like, okay, whoa, I can listen to this person. She knows what I'm going through. And that's not to say like, let's just give this person all of our information and just lay it all out there. No. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, okay, wow, like this is someone that gets it. And I can relate. I just think everybody likes to relate. That's like it's a personal thing. And I think deep down inside, we all really want that. We all want to be able to relate to people, and especially when we're going through something. So, you know, transparency, I think, is huge.
Right.
You know, there's always going to be those things that you don't really want to talk about or maybe even shouldn't talk about. But I think if more people talked about real things, it'd just be different. I think the air would be lighter. I think that the world would be better. I think that we'd be able to get more help for people. And yeah, I mean, you know, I'm an open book.
No, I know you are.
Always will be.
I think a lot of people think like, oh, this is only happening to me. This is to me. This is to me. But it's like, that's so not true, man.
Yeah.
So many people are going through the same stuff.
Yeah.
It might have a different flavor or whatever, but it's.
Yeah. And it's not to relate, like, cause here's one thing too that I've kind of noticed before. Like you can relate on something negative and you can both dig yourself a hole. You know what I mean? So I'm not meaning that. I'm just meaning, you know, relating and then someone kind of helping like lift you back up, I guess would be, so you kind of have to pick and choose who you do talk to about certain things. And I think you kind of get that feeling when you're talking to someone like,
yeah. Their energy.
Trust this person, or maybe I shouldn't say these things. So yeah, transparency, 100%, always. Gotcha.
Okay. So since we're on the transparent, do you fart?
All the time.
Do you fart? Do you really fart all the time? Yes,
then.
dude. She farts all the time. First thing in the morning, every morning, pretty much. I'd say 95% of the time. Followed by what?
A laugh.
A laugh or giggle.
Hilarious.
It's so funny.
It's hilarious.
But you get mad when I fart.
I don't get mad. It's just your farts stink.
Well, dude, I'm a dude. Yeah, I'm like a tuba. My wife is so beautiful, but yeah, she you let them. You're known for being the person that's going to fart. Tell them about Zachariah. Tell them about Zach, our tattoo artist. When you went and got your first tattoo with him, what'd you ask?
Listen, first of all,
what do you mean?
I was on the table for like it'd been probably 2 hours.
Like that matters.
I was holding it in
for 2 hours.
Yes, and so I was finally just like, man, Zach, do you care if I just fart real quick? and she did. And first of all, Zach laughed, and he was like,
he laughed. He's like,
not at all.
That's never happened.
He said it's never happened, but he also said you're welcome to fart here.
And you did. Do you remember we went to get that couples massage? What happened there? Do you remember that?
You're making me look.
We're transparent and real. Everyone in the audience farts.
I was on my stomach and the pressure was building up, and I said,
and what'd you ask the masseuses?
I said, hey, you guys care if I fart? Because I'm just going to do it.
And what'd you do?
And I farted.
And you farted more than once, actually. I think it was 2 or 3.
Moving on to the next question.
All right. So my wife's a farter and she's hot. All right. So, okay. We're going to reel it back to real. All right. What has been the biggest struggle of your life? And I'm not looking for anxiety. What has been like one of the hardest things you've had to go through?
So you don't want me to count this last week?
No, I don't think that's the hardest thing you've went through.
Yeah. The hardest thing that I've ever had to go through is losing my dad.
I know this is a touchy subject. Can you describe that? I mean, losing a parent, I haven't lost a parent. Mine are both still kicking.
Man, it's kind of like anxiety. I mean, if you've never lost a parent. He passed 3 weeks after Bray, right? After the second kid. Yeah, so I had Braden in 2015, and then I actually had him February 7th. And my dad's birthday is February 4th, so that would have been so cool if he could have been born on his birthday. That would have been awesome. So they're 3 days apart. But anyways, so I had Bray on February 7th, 2015, and then 3 weeks later, my dad passed away unexpectedly.
Which is crazy for a person to deal with, like, because postpartum and your body's all jacked up. And
yeah. Well, and I had Emma at home too. So I had two kids. One was just crying all the time, and obviously we know which one that one was. And then that happened. And I remember the phone call. I remember I called Emma's teacher. She was at Rush Creek Christian Academy at the time. She's 3 years old, 3.5. And I called her teacher. Her teacher was really good friends with me, and she loved my dad. They would talk all the time when my dad would pick up Emma from school. And I called her and I said, I don't even know why I did this, but I already knew my dad was gone. And I called her teacher and I'm like, Sandy, Emma's not going to be at school today. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, okay. And I was like crying.
Right.
And she's like, is everything okay? I'm like, my dad just died. And I just remember like throwing my phone and just like losing my shit. I mean, I was like instant panic mode. I mean, you talk about anxiety. I mean, my chest right now is tight. Like talking about it just doesn't, you can't ever really like disconnect from that feeling. I mean, when you talk about it, you think like, it's been how long? 6 years? I guess that would be 6 years.
Yeah, a little over 6, I think.
You would think that it goes away, but the minute you bring it up, it's like, cool. Like,
right there. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's tough,
What's crazy, I got to throw this in there because it's relevant to us. It's crazy is my path has been very similar to your father's. He was in Vietnam, Special Forces.
Yep.
Did security when he got out, was a cop.
Yep.
Like, it's abnormally, it's weird. It's strange. I say things all the time that remind you of him. Obviously, me not knowing, because I never met him, unfortunately.
Just even like your mannerisms and just like your demeanor, a lot of your habits, just, it's weird. I mean, it completely lines up. It's very strange. It's very strange.
Does that make you think of him more?
Yeah, I mean, you'll do things sometimes and I'm like, holy crap, like it'll just like catch me off guard and I'll kind of have like a little flashback. And
do you kind of smile sometimes? Like, oh.
Sometimes with the good things, but there's negative things too, that I'm like, oh God, that reminds me of that time or,
Yikes.
Yeah, well.
There it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
So.
Okay, so like, obviously that was a tough time, but you were super close to him, like best friends.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we would talk like a million times a day. It was stupid. He would he was retired, at that point. So he would just like swing by and just hang out. And he was the one who would watch Emma whenever I'd go to the gym because God knows I can't not get my gym time.
Yeah. It's important.
He'd come over and hang out and, we'd kind of hang out whenever I got back and just talk and we'd go grab lunch. And he's always checking in, how are you doing? How are my girls? Obviously before Braden was born. And, he's my best friend.
Yeah, I was
also scared of him, scared shitless.
Yeah. He disciplined well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
Anything else you want? Like, what's your fondest memory of him?
Well, now I don't want to cry.
It's okay. I'll go get you a tissue. Do we go get you a tissue?
No.
I feel like I need to give you a tissue.
It wouldn't be like a time. It's just something that he did all the time. I would be in the back seat of the truck. He'd be driving. And I mean, there'd be like no talking, or maybe he was on the phone. He was always on the phone talking about politics or whatever. And I'd be in the back seat, like just kind of staring out the window. And he would always, always, always just reach back like this. Even though I knew his shoulders hurt and everything hurt, he would reach back and he would put his hand out for me to grab his hand. Or he would just pat my leg. Just that connection, that like physical connection, like, hey, I know I'm on the phone, or I know it's kind of quiet right now, but I'm right here. That was probably, that was just the cool, like that was like his thing.
It's kind of crazy. Little things like that. It's not going to an amusement park or we went to Florida or, you know what I mean? I'm sure there's memories there. It's just that's what you, it's the little, it's crazy, right? I'm sure a lot of people will be like, yeah, like thinking about their parents or some of the past is it's the little things. It's not, oh, he bought me a bike when I was, 8 years old.
Yeah.
It's the little things that matter.
So what I do now is that same thing.
Reach back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
Like I'll think about it and be like, oh man, like I'll reach back, like let my kids give me a high five, or like if I can reach their knee, like touch their knee, or just, I love you, because you just never know.
Yeah.
You never freaking know whenever it's your time.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Okay, here's another one, and I don't want you to hold back on this question.
Okay.
I'm here. How can I be a better husband for you?
Oh my gosh.
Well, men, listen. Hey, I'm throwing myself, I wouldn't say under the bus, but like call it out. Like, how can I be better husband for you?
I can't believe that you asked me that. And B,
why can't you believe that?
Because I don't know. That is a very vulnerable question.
It is.
That is a question that is saying, I know that sometimes I'm not doing my part. I know that sometimes I'm not doing what you need or being who you need. And it takes a lot for a man to say that. Now, I feel like a real man has no problem saying that. So it's just, that's nice to hear like that. I mean,
yeah, I that was the last question, so you could see where it was in the order. But I mean, it's true. It's like we talk about being transparent. And I don't know if you got, like, a lot of people have messaged us, emails, freaking through various platforms. And I think it's important is like, I don't want ever anyone to be like, oh, you guys are perfect. I actually don't like that. Like, we're perfect for each other for sure, but we are not a perfect couple. Like, I have struggles. I fail. I mean, as you do. But a lot of it's not intentional, but like, I want to know where I can do better for you because you're my queen and I'm your king and I want to serve you. So lay it out. If it's more than 3, I'm done. No, I'm kidding.
I think that, once we touch on that emotional intelligence piece that we are going to be doing, and I cannot wait for it. It's going to be very exciting.
I'm taking notes, by the way.
Okay. I would say like, for you, babe, like, again, military guys, it's crucial. It's so crucial to, okay, let me back up. When you guys are deployed, when you guys are training, right? Mm-hmm. They are literally taking your brains and they're rewiring them. And they're rewiring them to not feel, for one, because what happens when you're over there and you have emotion or you let your guard down? What happens? Just tell us what happens when that happens.
But you can't do that.
You're dead, or your guys are dead, or something's happening, and it's not supposed to happen because you have to. You can
be very mission focused for sure,
right? And so, and honestly, I'm sorry, but to do the job that you do or that you did, you can't have your heart involved in that. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I mean, heart's involved, but a different section of the heart. I know what you're saying. Yes. Yeah. The emotion, the feelings,
right. Like not just anybody can.
The things that you need for a spouse and your children. Yeah. It's numbed.
It's numbed.
It's numbed.
And it's numbed for a long period of time. It is. And so what we've learned through like psychology and emotional intelligence and things like that, your brain creates these like pathways, these like neural pathways or whatever, right? And it's almost like, you know what it reminds me of? Is like walking through a field on the same path, and you keep walking that same path, and the grass gets worn down and worn down and worn down. That's like your brain. Like you're using that part of your brain so much that it is now, that is the pathway, right? And so then you get into a relationship and you keep going down that, but that's not working anymore. It's that trampled grass path isn't going to work.
Any fresh grass.
You need a fresh path.
Yeah.
And so I think for you, you know, something I've been praying for, and I know this is weird to pray for this. I don't mean like I've been praying for you to work and me not to work, but for you to want to do individual work. Because I think that's like supremely important for everybody. But I think like military dudes specifically who have had to, you know, rewire their brains. If you guys are coming back and you're trying to have a family, you're going to have to rewire it again. And honestly, you guys are the best ones to do it. You know how to train, and you know how to train hard, and you know how to attain a goal. And so
see, when you put it like that, I'm like, let's go emotional intelligence.
This is a new goal for you.
It is. You're absolutely right.
This is a new op, man.
How many books have I ordered in the last 2 weeks?
A lot. Like this
Actually, 2 months.
This is Operation Emotional Intelligence. And
I see what you're doing. You're manipulating my brain right now, and it's working.
I'm trying to relate to you.
I know you are.
And so, yeah, I think that, you know, individual work is extremely important, whether that's like going to therapy once a week with someone and talking about it. And, you know, you have a lot of trauma that you haven't taken care of. And what do we know if we don't heal from trauma? What do we know? It stays there and it festers. And so everything
it affects everything thereafter.
Yeah. Everything that you do, every way that you feel, the way you treat people, the way you treat your kids, the way you treat your spouse, the way you treat your parents, it all goes back to this trauma response. Right? And so like until you go back and you like take care of this and like that like worn down grass pathway,
right,
you're never going to get anywhere.
You're right.
You're just not. You're going to stay there and you're going to keep failing and failing and failing. You're going to have a failed marriage here, a failed relationship here. Your kids are going to be failing. Like it all starts with you.
Of course. Absolutely. Yeah. Change starts with you for sure.
And so
for sure.
I think that at first, like there has to be a desire. So I would want for you to desire it.
Okay. Do you think I desire it?
I do. I also think that you are comfortable where you're at.
I wouldn't say I'm comfortable where I'm at. I say this all the time because I believe it, and I believe it to be true, is where I am today versus, you know, when I was getting out of the military back in 2016 when I retired.
Yeah.
2 different people.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So it's like back to that like light switch. Like, oh, I'm fine. I'm perfect. Like the anxiety thing. Like, could I be doing more? Absolutely. Of course I could. But I've gone to counseling. We actively do counseling, which I highly recommend. I know a lot of people, I've heard people like, oh, that's stupid. Well, you need to find the right counselor. It's got to be, because I've had some douchebag ones, to be honest with you. But the ones who we're with now are freaking phenomenal. And we're going to do that brain spotting stuff?
Brain spotting, yeah.
But I've tried like the EMDR. Obviously, Christ has been the number one healer in my life for sure, no matter what. But like there's tons of things out there that I definitely want to try and do.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I could be doing more. I will be doing more for sure. 100%. But that's how I kind of gauge myself. It's like, I am very happy where I am today because I know where I was, and I didn't like it. I mean, it seemed normal and perfectly fine, like being this callous, dark, freaking douchey guy. But like now, like seeing the light is weird as that might sound. It's amazing. I'm like, oh my God, I have not been living my life. I've been living this doomsday, and that's not what life's about. Yeah.
And I think too, like we've talked about, the further that you are from being out.
Yes.
You're getting better.
It gets better and better, yeah.
But what I don't want to see happen is like you just make it about like a time thing. Like, you know, okay, well, you know, as time goes on, I'm getting better. Well, no, it's the work that you're putting in.
Of course, but like the work's got to be continuous. You can't just be like, no, I agree with you. I agree with you for sure.
So I would say, you know, just like kind of like doing the individual work, kind of finding out who Eddie is, because, you know, Eddie's not who he used to be.
No, he's not.
Eddie's different. And Eddie's going to continue to change. And so am I. And I just want the desire to be there, you know. You're still kind of into like the work mode a lot, which I understand. There's a lot going on right now. We have so much going on. It's insane. And I get it. Like, I totally get it. But at the same time, if I go back to the story about my dad, you know, it's like, and you know this by losing friends, you never know when it's going to be your last day.
Yeah.
And I know it's like you can't really live life like that, but at the same time, you know, like I said, we've got all these things going on, but what if something happened to one of us tomorrow?
Yeah.
You know, would we be able to say that, you know, we lived, or were we just trying to hustle, get everything done, get this, do this, do this, do this? Because a lot of my life is spent like just trying to get things done and checking off boxes. I don't feel like I'm living right now, you know? So yeah, I just think like I want to get to a place where like we are more like, we do a lot more family stuff, which we do family stuff, but I want to do more.
I want to do more too.
I want to be more involved. We owe that to our kids, and honestly, it would make us feel good. You know,
I want to do that as well.
Yeah, and I think you're an amazing husband.
I appreciate that.
And I think that you're like the bestest friend I've ever had. But those are just a few things that I would probably just add, you know?
So how could I make the work stuff better, I guess is...
I think you're just wired as one of those people that, you know, you get, and I know this because I know from your past, you would get, I mean, hello, in your book, you talk about how it was work. It was Eddie. And I think it's very easy for you to go back down that path because you used it so many times. It's so easy to walk through. There's no sticks. There's no branches. There's no mud. There's no nothing.
I love your path analogy, by the way.
Thanks.
Did you read that somewhere?
No.
You just came up with that?
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it like that, I mean, that is the path that you've always walked, and so it's much
very true. It's very true. People listening be like, dude, this is my path. Like, darn it, crap. And that's what's so cool about being transparent. It's like you start thinking about yourself, and I'm like, oh man, you're right.
Because this is life, and there are things that have to get done, but do they really have to get done? You know, do you ever ask yourself, like, does it really have to get done?
That's been a slow learning thing.
Yeah, it's like, do I really have to, like, mop the floor?
No. What is it, that book that I showed you, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff?
Don't Sweat the Small Stuff.
And what is the subtitle? It's all small stuff? It is small stuff.
Yes, because life is not about checking off boxes and, like, you know, making sure we have it all together. Life is about the freaking hand reaching back.
Oh, that's so good how you said that. Oh, baby.
We hit a nerve.
Yeah, we hit a nerve. Ding, 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 ding.
Life is about the moments.
I'm going to go get a tissue.
I'm good. No.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. Life is about the moments. It's about, you know, all the things happening along the way. You know, it's not
for sure.
It's not point A, B, or C. It's all that stuff that happens in between A and B.
I think anyone that's lost anyone would agree with you 100%. I just told you, a buddy of mine, or my really good friend from childhood, his boss just lost his wife after a few years. And like, I remember seeing him on Facebook, and he just seemed so happy. I didn't know him. I mean, I knew he was an acquaintance, but I didn't know them as a couple, but man, they just always looked happy, having fun. Like, they were always doing cool stuff. And she passed. And they're our age. And it's like, well, my age, because I'm older than you. And it's like, dude, like, and it made me think, of course, like, the brain goes off into Worryland, I should say. And freaking, okay, what would happen if she did? I'd be like, dude, I'd be devastated. Like, that would suck. Yeah. Like, it sucks to even, like, I don't even like to go there, but at the same time, I'm a planner. I like to think of contingencies, but I'm like, dude, I don't want to go there because I'd just be wrecked. Like, I felt so bad for him. Like, I still feel bad for him. Like, it's horrible. And you're right. You have got to enjoy those little things. Those reach backs of, you know, patting someone's on the leg, or the kiss on the forehead or whatever it is.
Yeah,
it's so true.
You're in the middle of doing something
so true.
And your kid really wants you to look at this drawing and you're like, I don't give a shit what this drawing looks like. We all know that you say
Dude, that has been a hard thing for me.
I know.
Oh my God.
I know. But man, like the look on our kids' faces whenever we like
engage.
Look,
yeah.
And we're like, dude, that is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, like their hearts are just like filled instantly.
They love it.
With just one
glance.
One glance.
Yeah. You're right. Mm-hmm. You're right. You're right.
And a lot of times parents, like we're depriving our kids of these small moments that are like amazing for their spirits and amazing for their like self-confidence, you know? I mean, when we're on our phones or we're like at our computer or we're busy, you know, you're too busy for your kids. I'm guilty. I'm not saying like, I mean,
I'm guilty. I think we're all guilty.
It's hitting me hard. But you know, they count on us for those moments. There's so much bullshit in the world. There's so much meanness. There was a freaking, I'm going off on a tangent real quick, but there was a story on Facebook about that little boy who, he was 12, I think. I don't know if I got the age right, but he was being bullied at school. And he wasn't talking about it, I guess. I don't remember the full story, but I know he was being bullied. He tried to be friends with the bully. He tried to kind of make it work. And he ended up hanging himself, and I guess his family found him hanging from his bed. And so they posted the pictures of his family lying with his dead body on a hospital bed. I mean, you can see like the marks on his neck, his face is purple. 12.
Insane.
12. Do you know that life could have been saved had someone just said something? Maybe that kid had poor self-esteem. Maybe, you know, it's like just, we have to do better with our kids.
Yeah.
We got to do better with our kids.
Yeah, I think that's a message for all of us, including us. I will totally raise my hand and be like, yeah, I'm failing sometimes at that. Like it's hard to do when you're running around working or doing something else. And they're like, hey, just look at this. Like, dude, I just looked at 5 of them. Okay. What's another one? You know what I mean? Or something like that. But no, you're 100% right. All right. So I have some work to do, and that's all right.
I'm emotionally drained.
That's all right. Okay. The bonus question.
Oh, well, yeah, I forgot about that.
You ready?
Yep.
How is blended family life treating Amanda Penney?
Man.
Holy crap, it's tough.
So tough. It is so freaking tough, man.
Yeah, it is.
I just burped. I'm sorry. I had to do that out loud. Sorry, guys.
She burps too.
Gosh. You know, all in all, I wouldn't change it. We have fun. But it's hard as hell.
It is hard.
It is so hard to take, you know, this way that I've been doing things for so long by myself, and then you doing things so long by yourself, and then you try to bring it together. It's difficult, you know. I mean, you had different rules, I got different rules, and you know, the kid dynamic. It's hard. It's hard. But like I said, I wouldn't change it. I view Tristan like my own kid. You know, I treat them all the same, and there's more. The way I see it, honestly, there's more of us to love each other. You know, I never had a big family. You didn't have a big family, and it's not like we have a big family. But I love our kids. I love it. It's definitely way harder than I expected, but it's not doable.
What have you learned? I mean, we've only been living under the same roof for what, 7-8 months now? What would be the one thing you would pass to someone else that said, hey, we're about to move in, we're bringing our 2 families into one? What would be your suggestion? Or some ammo to give them?
Yeah, I would say, like, you know, sit down and have a conversation with your spouse or significant other, whoever's moving in, and lay it all out there. You know, lay out the expectations, be on the same page. It's really easy to be reading the same book, but be on different chapters. So try to be on the same page, because when you're not, that's whenever crazy things happen. Lots of communication, endless communication. And then, you know, like giving yourself a lot of freaking grace. not being so hard on yourself, not being so hard on the kids, and knowing that it takes a really, really, really long time and a lot of patience. I'm going to cry again. Come on, man.
Hey, I was just asking how blended families going.
It takes a really long time and a lot of patience to get, I don't want to say like to get there, but like
to start the blending.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like...
It's not going to just... Yeah. You always use the analogy of the crock pot and not the microwave. It's not instant.
No, it's not.
It's not. And in some families, maybe it is instant, but I guarantee you at some point, there's going to be a rocky road.
In a world of instant gratification rules, that's... you can't... It's not how it works.
Yeah. I mean, the dynamics are just so different that, you know, it's just... It's hard for it to just completely mesh and be perfect.
Right.
It just is. So... I don't know. I mean, that would be the advice. The main advice that I would give is just, you know, breathe.
Mm-hmm. Reading books helped us a lot. Blended
there's
family.
lots of blended family books out there that you can read.
Which I'm surprised, but that's kind of a big deal. Like,
well,
what's the divorce rate? Oh boy, we did it again. 50%, right?
Oh man, I thought it was higher than that.
Oh, it's a lot.
Or maybe it's higher with your second marriage. And then
it's ridiculous. So the chances of having blended families are pretty great right now versus, 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, but I wouldn't change it. I like where we are. And I'm excited to see where we're going to go.
You want me to get you pregnant?
No.
Do you want to have another kid?
No.
No?
No.
Why?
That'd be cool if we could go back and do that, but no.
Yeah, I think we're done with the kid thing, aren't we? Yeah. We'll get another puppy.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Anything else?
You okay?
You did awesome. No, seriously, that was super cool. You were totally transparent. That's my wife, Amanda. I love it. I love it. Seriously, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. You can listen or to people having conversations, watching other podcasts, watching YouTube videos, whatever it is. And a lot of them are full of shit.
Yeah. They
tell you what they think you want to hear and not the truth, which is really what we want to hear, the truth.
Yeah.
And the truth, you can't beat it. You can't beat it. We struggle, we go through it all. We talk about this all the time. You gave that one thing John goes to church. He meets Chris. They ask each other, how is everything? Oh, it's perfect. Everything's perfect. But really, it's not. There's this going on. We just, maybe you don't want to engage in a full conversation, but there's always stuff going on. We're just living in this perfect world. We're in, I always say, we're in a battle. Yeah. And if you go through life thinking everything's all peaches and creams, you're going to get destroyed. And if you want to see what I mean, just look at society. Look at society. Look at the affairs. Look at the porn. Look at the gambling. Look at the alcohol. There are the addictions of just all kinds of crazy things that just go too far. I'm not saying having a drink's not bad or going to the casino and doing whatever, I'm giving myself $100 limit or whatever it may be, but we know what too far is. When it starts feeling probably shouldn't be doing this. Yeah, you're right. You probably shouldn't be doing this, but we all got that thing going on. It's rampant everywhere. Mm-hmm. It is everywhere. So no, it's just cool to be real. It's so cool. I appreciate my friends that are real. Dude, I'm struggling. I need help. Mm-hmm. Or, are you dealing with this, buddy? Or and we just have a conversation and it's real. There's no fake stuff. It's just real. Yeah. I love that. Not this fake crap. So facades, posers, all that good stuff. Anything else you want to say, baby? Even though you hit it out of the park, this is a really good podcast. It was deep, mm-hmm. but I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. I hope that, no matter what we talk about, I hope that at some point, it helps someone. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I just hope that someone can hear it and be like, okay, wow, I'm not the only one, So.
For the audience, I have to say this, you're an amazing woman. You're beautiful. And that's just scratching the surface. Your personality is stupid. You're amazing. Your personality, you make me laugh more than anyone. Even more than myself. I laugh at myself all the time. You know that.
You're pretty funny.
It's the dad jokes, isn't it?
It's the dad jokes.
But you're so funny. I love your character. I love your heart. You're a genuine human. And I've never met someone that captivated me as much as you do. Like, you freaking, like, literally take my breath away. Like, I understand so many songs now. Take my breath away. Like, I get it. It's like, oh, I get it. Every morning, I get it. You come out for coffee. Oh, there she is. Without makeup. Looking amazing. And then you say something funny. And you just keep going. So I just want to tell you, you're a phenomenal woman. I love you to death. And I'm going to tell you more and be a better husband.
I love you too.
I love you. And that wraps episode 4. So we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.